Hey guys, DC Network here, coming at you with another video. Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated is, in my opinion, the greatest iteration of Scooby Doo that we've ever gotten. It was just so good on so many different levels, and as many of you may already know, Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, which had a 2-season run, was actually supposed to have a 3rd season that ended up being canceled by Cartoon Network and Warner Brothers Animation. We talked about this 3 or 4 years ago on the channel, but in short, essentially, the way Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated ended, they were going to go visit this university on the other side of the country, and essentially season 3 was going to see Scooby and the gang take a road trip to go to that college, essentially recreating the original series in a 3rd season, where they stop in different towns and whatnot to solve mysteries along the way, just how we saw in Where Are You, the original Scooby Doo. Scooby and the gang stop throughout the different towns that they go to and whatnot to solve different mysteries in every single episode, and that essentially was supposed to be the 3rd season, but for one reason or another, Cartoon Network decided to pull the plug on the project, and we never got to see season 3. Although the creators, the people who worked on the series, did say in an interview a few years ago that they've been approached multiple times by Cartoon Network to revisit Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, but they haven't yet due to their busy schedules. I'll leave a card to both of those videos above if you want to hear me go fully in depth on those topics, but today in this video I wanted to touch on whether or not I think returning to Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated is a good idea, and if maybe something is being worked on behind the scenes right now that we don't know about yet. So first and foremost, do I think that returning to Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated is a good idea? My answer is yes and no. The reason I say that is because I think that returning to Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated in the form of a 3rd season being a revival to the original show might not be the greatest idea. I said this a few years ago in my other video, but essentially I feel like Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated had the perfect 2-season run. I think it concluded in a fantastic manner. I think they wrapped up the story they were trying to tell, so I really don't think there's any reason for them to return to it to make a 3rd season, because they got to tell the story that they wanted to tell. We really don't need to see more of it, because what ends up happening at a given point in time is when people start to continue something that was meant to end at a given point, the level of quality goes down. This isn't always the case, as with, for example, Dragon Ball Z. It was supposed to end after the Planet Namek saga, after Frieza was defeated and Goku went Super Saiyan. That was supposed to be the end of Dragon Ball Z, but it was so popular they decided to continue it, and obviously we got the Cell saga with all the androids. We got the Majin Buu saga towards the end of that, and it ended up getting more series in GT and Super and now Daima, so obviously that's a scenario where continuing a series past your initial vision, if you will, was a good idea. But on the other hand, we look at stuff like SpongeBob SquarePants or The Fairly Odd Parents, and those are series that went on and on and on for so long that at a given point their quality went down and they're not as good as they used to be. And that's the flip side to it, right? There's the possibility that yes, continuing Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated with a 3rd season could be great. It could be better than what we saw in the first 2 seasons, but on the flip side, it could end up ruining the legacy of the show, just like The Fairly Odd Parents and SpongeBob SquarePants. And with that being said, I'm not completely opposed to the idea of them returning to the world of Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, but if they were to do so, I think they should just make a sequel series as opposed to making a season 3. And the reason I say that is because I feel like when you make a sequel series that's not, a continuation of the original show, that's not a 3rd season, not serving as a revival, it's a bit different because that original idea, the original run you had, is not being altered in any way, shape, or form. So if you think of Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, it's still that perfect 2-season show that we all know and love, but then if they do a sequel series to it, let's say Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated on the Road or something of the sort, since they're going to be traveling to the university, if they name it something like that or give it some other subtitle, right, it's connected to Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated in that it's a direct sequel to it, but it's not going to affect the legacy of the original show, if that makes sense. Like, in my mind, if you make a 3rd season like they did with Young Justice seasons 3 and 4, if you think of Young Justice, you're going to think of the whole product of Young Justice, if that makes sense. You're going to think of the 4-season run that it had, and obviously the first 2 seasons were great, the latter 2 seasons weren't great, so the name of that series ends up being tainted because of that. But if they made like a sequel to Young Justice and called it something else, you could say that, okay, well, the original Young Justice was perfect, it was great, but then the sequel was a mess, and we don't think about the sequel, we don't talk about that, if that makes sense. It's a distinction in my mind, at least. I know for some people it doesn't really make a difference, but in my opinion, if they were to return to Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, I would do it in the form of a sequel series, so we don't tarnish the name of the original show because it was perfect and they shouldn't touch touch it. With that all being said though, do I think they are secretly working on Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated Season 3 or a sequel series right now over at Warner Brothers Discovery? And the short answer is no, I don't. And the reason why I say I don't think they're working on anything right now is twofold. Number one, the creators who worked on the original show said they had a very busy schedule 2 years ago and they didn't have time to work on Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated. Of course, that could have changed. Of course, money talks, and if they were offered a big fat check from Warner Brothers Discovery, maybe they decided, okay, those other projects we were working on can wait, let's go return to Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated. But given the, production side of things, what we've been seeing from Warner Brothers Discovery, the lack of them wanting to take big risks and spend money on big series and whatnot, I don't think they're going to just throw a bunch of money at these people to make a third season of the show just because they have other priorities right now, such as trying to get out of the whopping $45 billion worth of debt that they're in right now. Plus which fact, I believe they're being investigated by regulators for having so many different tax write-offs, but that's neither here nor there. The other part of this, though, that I kind of think they won't return to Mystery Incorporated right now is that they have another Scooby-Doo in development right now. They have Go-Go Mystery Machine, which is, of course, going to be the Scooby-Doo anime that is coming. The fact that they have Go-Go Mystery Machine in development doesn't necessarily preclude them from also making Mystery Inc. As we've seen with other franchises recently with Warner Brothers Discovery, they have multiple ongoing projects at a given time. Like, for example, we have all of the different Adventure Time projects like Fiona and Cake, Side Quest, we have the movie in development, or Heyo Bimo, or even with something like Rick and Morty. There's Rick and Morty, the original series, and then the anime series. So it is possible that Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated could be being worked on right now alongside of Go-Go Mystery Machine, but I don't see Scooby-Doo as necessarily being a franchise to have multiple different versions or multiple different iterations ongoing at the same time. I know that we have Velma, but apparently that's been canceled after 2 seasons, so right now there really is no Scooby-Doo on the air outside of whenever Go-Go Mystery Machine finds its way to the airways, but that's probably going to be at least a couple more years away. So yeah, I feel like Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, it was this fantastic series from Cartoon Network's past, but I feel like for now, for the time being, it's probably not going to be revisited. Hey, maybe they decide to make a spiritual successor to it at some point down the line. Maybe that serves as like a sequel series to it. Maybe they eventually do go to that university to solve whatever mystery they were going to solve there and the different little pit stops they were going to make along the way. But for now, I don't think we're going to see that. I don't think we're going to return to that world. Would I like to see it one day? Yeah, sure, but only if they're going to handle it well and do it the right way. That's why I would prefer them to do a sequel series or spin-off show as opposed to a third season, just so they don't taint the name of the original Mystery Inc. Anyways, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about all this. What do you guys think about the potential of a third season of Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated? Do you agree with me that they should probably just leave it alone, and if you want to return to that world, do it in the form of a sequel series or spin-off to the original show so they don't tarnish the name of Mystery Inc. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like this from DC Network. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.